Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Usman. I'm one of the senior writers at fstoppers.com, and today we're looking at the newly announced Leica SL2. We're at the Leica store. We've just been at the launch event and just been getting a bit of information on the new SL2. This is the latest full-frame mirrorless camera from Leica with the L mount. Leica initially produced the SL camera a few years ago and they've just updated it, and I have to say, I'm quite impressed. There are a bunch of things about this camera that I wasn't expecting. I honestly thought Leica were just gonna do a typical incremental update, but they haven't. They've done some pretty incredible things with this camera. But before we get into that, let me cover some of the things that I'm not too keen on. First thing is autofocus. Now, of course, we haven't had a great deal of time with this camera, so these are not like extensive findings about this camera, but first impressions of the autofocus isn't great. It's still contrast detect. They say that they're using something called depth mapping, which is helping. And from shooting today, I have to say, for photography, for stills, it is very good. It's just not perfect. Like if you're shooting anything which is a fast moving subject or anything to that extent, more than likely you're gonna miss your subject. It's not a great autofocus system. For video, it does hunt a lot. And hunting a lot, I mean, for a lot of people, that might not be an issue because maybe some of you are going to shoot with manual focus, but if you're going to be shooting on a gimbal or if you need something with an autofocus system, then this camera might not be ideal because contrast detect is just not that great. And I wish that Leica could have updated that to phase detect or something more effective for video autofocus, but they haven't. But yeah, that's what this camera is when it comes to autofocus. The other thing is the size and the weight. Now, this is something which is going to be, it's going to come down to personal preference. I kind of like the fact that it's a little bit heavier, it's a little bit bulkier, and it's got a bit of weight to it. I mean, the build quality is just exceptional. It's so well made. It's such an incredibly well made camera, but it is heavy. So if you prefer a lighter mirrorless camera, a smaller mirrorless camera, this is probably not the one, because this is a lot bigger and it's actually heavier than some DSLRs like the 5D Mark IV. However, the camera itself, the specs, the new features that Leica has put into this camera are incredible. First of all, this is a 47 megapixel sensor, so they've practically doubled the resolution from the previous version. They've gone from 24 to 47, almost double, close enough. The other thing is they've increased the resolution of the viewfinder. Now, the viewfinder in the SL, the original SL, was fantastic anyway. This is even better. When you look through the viewfinder, it looks stunning. The screen on the back, the resolution on the screen, again, they've doubled the resolution on the screen and they've just made it so much crisper. When you're looking at the images on the back of the screen, it just looks so much better. Video features. I'm very surprised with how good the video features are in this camera. Aside from the autofocus, the actual specs of the video are pretty damn good, and this is from a Leica camera, so I wasn't expecting that. This now shoots 5K 30 frames per second using the full width of the sensor. Now, it is 4:3 in terms of the aspect ratio, so that might not be ideal for some of you. However, it is shooting 5K, which I think is incredible. It also shoots 4K 60p with no crop, 8-bit internal. But if you want to get that extra bit depth, if you want to shoot at 10-bit, you can use an external recorder through the full HDMI on this camera, and you can get 4K 60p 10-bit recording. And that just makes this camera a fantastic option for a lot of video shooters, especially considering how good Leica lenses are. Now, the lenses are focused by wire, so they might not be perfectly ideal for manually focusing for video, and also autofocus is a little bit crappy too, as I mentioned. But in terms of specs, so far, I have to say, the video is just looking incredible. Other than that, they've just kind of really made this camera a well-rounded beast of a machine. I mean, both SD card slots are now the same speed, UHS-2. The build has been improved. It's a little bit more, it's got better weather sealing. So this is now IP54. Alex, is it IP? The rating is IP54. Other things, like the touchscreen is just so intuitive. You've got this little joystick on here. Just little things that they've just improved, which makes this camera a lot better than the original camera. And of course, one of the big additions, aside from everything else that I've mentioned, is IBIS. This camera now has in-body image stabilization, which a lot of people are going to love. Leica lenses don't have any IS built into them, so the fact that this lens now has in-body image stabilization is going to be extremely useful, especially if you're shooting in low light situations. I haven't found it to be like gimbal-like for videos. I just did I took a few shots, so it's not like gimbal-like when it comes to video features, but I'm sure it is going to benefit you if you're filming or if you're taking pictures with this camera. Other than that, I have to say I'm thoroughly impressed with this camera. It's surprisingly good. I was not, as I said, I was expecting an incremental update, and that's not what Leica's done. Leica's done something significantly better than what I was expecting, and I'm very impressed with it. So yeah, I mean, I'd love to get my hands onto this on this camera properly so I can do a full and detailed review. But right now, this is just a first-hand look, and yeah, it's pretty cool. Oh, pricing. Camera's been announced to have a price point of £5,300 in the UK and $5,900 in the US. But yeah, typical Leica prices, I guess. Anyway, just want to say thank you so much for watching our video. If you like this video, hit the like button, please subscribe, share this video, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Thank you.